So this is tax magic. All right. We are going to talk about amending returns and keeping the IRS in check by the things that we wind up doing. Joe DeChera is the CPA within Bedrock Business Builders. He's the founder. He is the man with the plan, and he makes it so all of our clients get the paperwork done that needs to be done. And we do ask for your 2 back tax returns to make sure that we're making sure that you filed them the right way. And if there were errors, if there was problems within how you filed, if you paid way too much money to the IRS, we figure out if there's a potential or a possibility to amend those returns and make it so you could save money, get money back, or even get a refund from the IRS. Now, Raymond, are you really raising your hand? Do you have something really important to say?
Yes, because I've been patiently waiting for a break in the chat to chime in, and there hasn't been one.
I know. So here we go. We can do introductions. My name's Elizabeth Frederick. I am the Chief Fun Officer of Bedrock Business Builders. All right. I like to host these events. We host the mastermind together on Fridays. I hope people attend for that. And I host these workshops within Bedrock Business Builders. If there's anything that goes wrong within Bedrock, you can put the blame on me. It is definitely my fault, okay? No joke, Franklin. If there's a problem, you can know that it was Elizabeth's fault, okay? And I will take care of it as soon as humanly possible. You will not be forgotten. Someone will get back to you, and I will make sure that satisfaction occurs. That's important. I'm not the IRS. Bedrock Business Builders is not the IRS. We don't have automated responses. In fact, you hear from people. All right, Raymond, give me your introduction. And your question, and you're chiming in.
I'm Raymond Cousins, and I'm the Bedrock business client who was told he had to file a paper return for 2020. And so now I'm concerned that they're going to shred it, and I'm never going to see my solar panel credit.
So they have not shredded paper returns from 2020 yet. That has not occurred. Instead, what they were shredding was paper returns from like 2018 and back. Okay. And this is where they did say that people who are going to get refunds, that isn't what they wound up shredding. They shredded things where they were trying to collect money from people. So
this is why you need to have an account. Okay, we need to get the account, and in, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so we need to stay on top of them. Okay, we couldn't electronically file, and it was a 2018 return. That's why we couldn't electronically file.
We've done the 2018. We did that electronically, I think.
Okay, so then it was a 2019. I forget which one.
No, we haven't done the 2019 yet. It's the 2020 with the solar panel credit.
Okay, we'll go through it, but you need to stay on top of it. Because there is a statute of limitations, and we got to get acknowledgement that they received the return and they're processing it. Now, processing it.
Well, I have a tracking number.
Okay, that's from the post office, though.
No, that's from UPS.
Okay.
All right, so we know that it got to their doorstep. Now from there, what we can do is we can contact them, and we can check to make sure that they are processing it. We can get them on the phone. We can talk to them and say, hey, we filed this return for this individual on this date, and it landed on your doorstep. What are you doing with it now? And then they'll say, well, we got it, or we don't have it.
We could, at the end of the.
I'm going to request.
We'll have time at the end.
I'm going to request you do the.
I'm sorry, Ray.
I'm going to request you do the power of attorney for me then.
Okay.
Good idea. Upgrades. Woohoo! How exciting, Raymond. Thank you. I'm very excited. I think that's a good thing. Now, Franklin, do you want to give a quick introduction? Who are you? What do you do? What do you want to learn today?
Yeah, well, actually, I want to share with people and get your opinion. My name is Franklin Nance. I'm a CPA, actually a chartered global managerial accountant as well. I have my own business probably since since '86, but I probably been more active with since COVID. People, calling left and right to, get me to do their stuff, from PPP loans to forgiveness and all that stuff. But I did have a client that I think it was right before COVID, or we ended up. He had an amended 2016 tax return. He had filed before and couldn't seem to get any response. He gave me the power of attorney. I filed the tax return manually before COVID, and then I did it again right there at the beginning of COVID, and getting the acknowledgement that we responded to an IRS letter why there was a second filing. We didn't hear anything from them for 2 years. I ended up making a phone call. I stayed on the call for about 6-8 hours to finally get in to talk to somebody. They postponed the penalty for 6 months. The latest notice is they gave us 60 days extension on the, for the penalty, for paying. And then meanwhile, I ended up with an advice from a tax attorney. He said to go ahead and file on 9/11, be an advocate, and we haven't heard anything.
I'll cover that. I'll cover that at the end.
Okay.
All right. I love the stories. It's the facts of the cases that really bring it to alive, right?
Yeah.
Because tax returns and these numbers, it's people, right? And I think the IRS a lot of times forgets that is what is behind all of these numbers, is that it's actual people. It is not just numbers on a page.
That's the key. The bottom line is there is a solution to every situation. It might not be the solution that you're looking for, but you need to connect with a person. And right now that's the hard part, but there are ways to do it. And I'll cover that. If you can't connect with a person, you're going to be stuck. If you're lucky enough, you can do it by mail, but a lot of the mail just isn't working anymore. Not only, you can't even be sure that the mail got there. Ray says that he's got a proof of mailing. That doesn't matter. I hate to tell you, Ray. I can't tell you how many times I've sent letters certified, and they're like, well, we didn't get it. I'm like, but I have proof. And they're like, well, what do you, so the certified letters work if there's some kind of statute, like you're filing an S election or something like that. But if they don't got it, they don't got it.
All right, so then it's kind of like starting back at the beginning. But hey, who doesn't like to start a story over at the beginning and do a replay? So does anybody else want to give a quick introduction? I know we have a lot of students from our class in here, like Rowena, you're definitely a student. Lulu, I believe, is a student. If you want to give an introduction, all you have to do is turn on your camera, unmute yourself, and say, hey.
You're not required. We're just giving you an opportunity. Brief intro, let us know, who you are, what you're looking to get. If you're looking for any kind of specific clients, the information helps us.
And I'm going to give the 3-second rule. Oh, there we go. We got some cameras on. Woohoo!
Hello, good afternoon to you. My name is Rowena. I am an accountant here in the Philippines. I'm a student in Bedrock, and I'm continually learning about US taxes. Thank you.
All right, you're gonna learn today, guaranteed.
Jennifer, do you want to give an introduction? You unmuted yourself and everything. And if I say anybody's
Hi.
name wrong, I'm sorry.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jennifer from the Philippines. I'm a bookkeeper to various US real estate companies. And I want to familiarize myself with taxation, yes, taxation. That's all.
Okay. We can put our contact information in the chat. We can continue connecting with one another. And Joe, are you ready to say
I'm
who
ready.
you are? Are you ready to share your screen? Are we gonna learn a lot of things today? I hope
Yeah,
so.
you're not gonna, so if you take over the screen from me like you did the last couple of times, just let me know because I want to make sure I'm talking about what's on the screen. You know, a lot of times I'm teaching and I'm like, I think I'm sharing the screen and I'm talking to people like, what are you talking about? You would think after years of doing this, I know how to work these controls, but just, I don't mind you taking over. Just let me know.
I'll let you know, Joe, but right now I'm gonna let you go for it. So
Okay, so let's go for it. Let me make sure I am sharing the right screen. Okay, so do you see the okay, it says tax refund magic. You see that, right?
yep, I see it. You're ready to
All
go.
right,
You're right
great.
at the beginning.
So let's go. Is this for you? If you're here, it's probably for you. You probably got our marketing materials. I was hoping we'd get a lot more people. I guess nobody wants to get tax refunds, but you know, it's one of my favorite things to do to get refunds for people that weren't expecting them. So if you're looking for some magic, hopefully we can make it happen for you. If you're one of our students, hopefully you could take this information and share it with your clients and make some magic work for them. What I'm going to do is, one of my superpowers is making things simple. I've been doing this for a long time, and I can take the most complicated things and explain it to a 3-year-old. It used to be a 5-year-old, but 3-year-olds are a lot smarter now. So I'm going to make it simple for you, guide you to how you might be able to get some possible refunds, and give you some clarity on what's going on today and what we can expect in the future from the IRS. So who am I? There's some new people here. I haven't met you before, so it's only fair that I let you know how I'm qualified to talk about this. I was born to solve problems. Okay, I've been creating problems and solving my own problems, and I think that gave me the talent and wherewithal to solve other people's problems. I don't know what it is. It's like a puzzle to me. I can look at somebody's tax situation and just boil it down to what the real issue is, because people get mired in all the details. Over 40 years, I've worked with thousands of individuals and businesses at every level, not only with taxes, but with issues with banks, insurance, workers' comp. And it's like Elizabeth was saying, it all comes down to connecting with the person that has some logic. This is logical. Everything is, there are laws, there's rules you have to follow. And as long as our clients aren't, you know, skirting the laws, trying to commit tax fraud, you know, we can defend them. I've been become an expert at removing penalties, especially if anybody's got penalties from during the COVID years. It's pretty easy to blame we're blaming everything on COVID now. Even the IRS is blaming their problems on COVID. And yes, I've been able to generate millions of dollars in actual tax refunds. Like I said, for people that either had issues, the IRS said that they owed money, and that the IRS actually owed them money. Okay. My goal is to help you identify potential refunds, resolve any current tax issues you have, and in the meantime, take away any stress or anxiety that you might have over dealing with the IRS, especially in today's situations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the screen, because I think the easiest way to explain some of these common problems is to actually go through tax form. And hopefully if you could see this bigger. And the first mistake that people make, believe it or not, is right on the top, their filing status. Okay, this is
Hold on,
extreme-
Joe. Hold on, Joe. What do you show? Because right now I just see common tax returns error. So you got to stop sharing
Okay.
and then you got to reshare.
Oh, thank you.
Send it on. See, it's all in the instructions. The IRS is all about it too. It's the
Okay.
instructions.
Do you see it now?
Yeah, now we do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you. Okay, so filing status. People make mistakes on this all the time, especially when it comes to married filing separately. I'm going to let you in on something. Married filing separately are for people that are obviously they're married, they're still living together, and for whatever reason, they don't want to combine their taxes. Okay. If you're married and living together, you have to file jointly, or married filing separately. You don't have a choice if you're living together. Okay. So married filing separately might be because what you think your spouse is committing tax fraud, you're not sure, you don't want to be held liable, or you're going through a divorce and your attorney incorrectly tells you that you should file separately. It's not like it used to be. It used to be, they have what they call innocent spouse relief. It used to be difficult to get out of your spouse's tax problems. Now, as long as you qualify, it's not as hard. I can't say it's easy, but it's not as hard. It's not impossible. So why is it a mistake? Because if you file separately, you don't get a lot of the tax benefits of not filing separately. I can't say that filing jointly there's a tax benefit, but when you file separately, automatically you're not entitled to get a lot of credits. You get a lower, you only get half the standard deduction. What's crazy is if your spouse itemizes, you have to itemize. Now think about this, how crazy a rule that is. Because if your spouse is itemizing and if you're going through a divorce, and it's not amicable, that becomes a problem. And it becomes a problem that's going to go on for years, because if one spouse files and the other one, they file differently, the IRS is going to say, and they're not going to send you a letter saying, oh, you have to fix this. They're going to send you a bill. Okay, that's how the IRS responds. So what is the law? Okay, just because you're married doesn't mean you have to file separately. Okay, they put this in the fine print. You could be legally separated, okay, and file single, both of you. Or if one of you have a dependent, you could file as a head of household. Okay, what is a legal separation? It doesn't mean that you went to court and got something in writing. You could just say, listen, I can't stand living with you anymore. How about we just get separate houses, or we don't live together? That's a legal separation. People don't realize this. Attorneys don't realize this. Accountants don't realize this. Now, the good thing is, if you file married filing separately, you could actually amend your return and file the way that you should have filed. So this is the first thing that I look at. Okay, I was amazed when I looked at this for my own tax issues, because I'm not living with my wife. We don't file married filing separately. For years, I filed as a single and she filed as a head of household. Okay, so that's the first thing where people make mistakes. Okay. And especially most people do not hire an accountant. They do this on their own. And that's what I found out, about, I knew that people do their own returns, but I didn't realize how many people do their own returns. So a lot of times when we get a client, like Elizabeth said, the first thing I ask them to do is to give us their last 2 years returns. I should be asking for the last 3 because there's a potential that we can go back up to 3 years. In fact, I think we're going to start doing that. That was a great idea, Elizabeth. We're going to start asking for 3 years. Thank you for that.
You want to collect more paperwork, Joe? All right. The other thing that I know is that some people who have got federal government school debt, they will avoid trying to file taxes. All right, because they know that if they're not paying their school debt, previously the IRS, if they were going to get a refund, they would just take it. Okay, and if they filed with their spouse, what would they do with that refund? Again, they could potentially just take it. So oftentimes, if they did file, they would file separately. But over the last 2 years, they have suspended taking those refunds. All right. So people who have school debt that's sitting there that may not have previously gotten refunds, if they do file, if they have filed, if they filed in a way to make it so they didn't get the maximum of what they could have from their refund, well, don't you know, maybe they want to amend it because over the last 2 years, they could have gotten that money.
But that's a good point. I didn't realize that, but that might actually come under the innocent spouse relief.
Yes.
Okay.
People will try and like circumvent things, but it is easier to deal with than what you think it is. It's not something that people should hide from.
It's not only when if your spouse owes taxes or could owe taxes that you don't want to be involved with. If your spouse owes child support from another relationship, you don't want your taxes to be affected by somebody else's mistakes. So and you could actually file the innocent spouse relief with your return. You don't want to do it after you find out, if that's possible. The other status is, head of household. You don't need to have a child. You can have a dependent. Okay. My mom lives with my sister. She doesn't have a lot of income, and she qualifies, so my sister can file as a head of household, which gives her a higher standard deduction and possible credits. So so that's how that works. So now if you file jointly, and we have people that do this, then they get mad at their spouse. You can't file separately as an amended return. I think the IRS just decided they don't want to get involved with that stuff. Okay, so now we get standard and itemized deductions. People don't get to itemize anymore, but a lot of people do, namely if they have a big mortgage. Okay. But a lot of people weren't aware of itemized deductions that they could have taken. For instance, some people, I had a client once that gave away, his wife passed away, and she must have had about $50,000 worth of books that he gave away to libraries. He didn't know that he could deduct. So yeah, he could absolutely deduct it. We filed an amended return, and he got the money back. Dependents, people overlook dependents. Okay, now you're limited you know, there's, I think 5 different tests. There's a relationship test, there's an income tax test, there's an age test. But as long as somebody, if you're taking care of somebody, if you're providing more than one hand, you're living in your house, you know, that counts as support. You can take them, and if you forgot to take somebody, or there was a mistake, you can file an amended return. And believe it or not, accountants make mistakes. So we look at this when we get a new client. It's not because a great accountant and they're up to date. Sometimes they come to us because their accountant got sick or they passed away, but we're still looking at the returns to see if there's anything that was missed. Okay. Obviously, a lot of the rest of these lines, these are all income lines, but people can make mistakes. Sometimes they double count something, especially people that do their own returns. Okay. They don't have a way to, they don't have any quality control. They don't have somebody else looking at the return to make sure that all the numbers add up. Okay. And we actually have a client, he had a big return, and he was doing his return by hand. He didn't even buy software. I mean, yeah, he made some mistakes. But I was surprised he actually didn't do such a bad job. He went into the instructions and he did all the worksheets. He actually, yeah, he did a pretty good job. But anybody that's going to do their own return, I usually find something, unless, you know, it's so straightforward. But returns right now are so complicated. I don't see how anybody can do it themselves. And also, you know, we had a couple of clients, we did a survey, they used a couple of those free online tools, and they did 3 of them. Both of them tried 3 of them, and they all came out with different amounts. Okay. Another thing people make mistakes on are the credits that they can get. Okay. It's easy to overlook credits. And sometimes, so I don't think, so Raymond, I don't think forgot about, you know, he knew that he could get a solar panel credit. He just didn't file. Is that correct, Raymond?
That is correct, Joe.
Okay.
Life kept getting in the way.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing. So you don't always have to amend a return. We look for returns that weren't filed. And believe it or not, we had a case last year. It was during COVID, and this couple, they had an LLC business and they went out of business, and their books were mangled. They were doing their own books, and there were no accountants that wanted to handle the thing. They said it's a mess. They didn't know how to. So now I've handled plenty of clients that had, you know, bad bookkeeping. We were able to fit. So now they were scared because they thought they owed a lot of money. Well, both of them, they worked. They didn't make a lot of money. Now, because of the COVID rebates, by the time we got done, now they only got this much money because they actually had withholding from their jobs, and they lost money on the business. They didn't, you see, they forgot to tell their accountants how much money they lost. They lost a lot. So instead of owing money, they wound up getting over $30,000 in refunds. So that was a pretty big win for us and for them. What else? So basically, it's just, you know, leaving off stuff that you could have been entitled to. And it's not limited to the federal returns. We also look at the state returns. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the presentation. now that I know how to do this. Okay. Are we here? What returns could be amended?
But we see your whole notes now. Is there a way to make it so it's just the present? Like we're seeing everything. There. Oh yeah, so it's the,
I'm on the wrong screen.
I don't know, how many screens do you have? So a lot of business owners, they have like 2 or 3
okay.
screens that they mess with, right?
No, I only have 2.
All right.
That's the right one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so any return can be amended. Any business return, any individual return, they can all be amended. Okay, now if you have a business, if you have an S corp or a partnership that's being amended, you have to amend your personal return. Okay, maybe you had a business that somebody forgot to depreciate some equipment or a car. A lot of times people don't realize that they can actually convert property like a car, a desk, into business property, and it's a tax deduction. So sometimes, do that. Again, people that do their own return, they're not, they just don't realize what they're entitled to. Especially, so here's what happens. People open up an LLC. Okay, this is what normally happens. They open up an LLC and they think that, they don't have to do anything until they start making money. They don't even realize that they're in business. Meanwhile, they're spending money. I have people that were in my mastermind group and they never incorporated, they had LLCs, and they didn't realize that they can write off, at least they were, paying the mastermind fee. So, they overlook deductions. So we're always looking at so a lot of people come to us because they have a business, they never made money, and we can go back sometimes and get them refunds. Now, there is a time limit on how long you have. You can't go back forever. Basically the rule is 3 years from the due date of your return. So if you filed for an extent, so right now, what is it, April 15, 2020. So your 2019 return, no, wait a second, your 2018 return would have been due on April 15th of 2019. So 3 years from that date is April 15, 2022. Now, if you were on extension, that's the due date. If you were on extension till October of 2019, you still have until October 15th of 2022 to go back to 2019, your 2018 tax returns and amend them. Or if you file late and you paid the taxes late, you have 2 years from the date you paid the taxes. Okay. So that's the statute of limitations. So reasons to amend your return, you don't only want to amend your return to get a refund, believe it or not. If you know that you owe money, okay, you can limit your interest and penalties by fixing the problem before the IRS does. Okay, a common mistake that I find, and right now you're going to find a lot of people with this mistake, they get 1099s and they forget to add them to their tax returns. Okay, thinking that, if the IRS doesn't know about it, it's not going to be a problem. Either they do it on purpose or they do it on accident. But when they get a 1099, The IRS is going to know about it. And like I said, they're not going to send you a courtesy letter. They're going to send you a bill. So if you made $50,000, they're going to say you're subject to Social Security tax on $50,000 and income tax. Well, I'm going to cover this after, or maybe I'll cover it right now. We file an amended return. With the original return, we change it and take their business deductions. Because if they got a 1099, that means they were an independent contractor, and they might, almost every business has some kind of deductions that they can take. Okay, sometimes they say, well, they don't have any records. Well, it's legal to use estimates. It's not advisable, because if the IRS decides to audit your return, you're going to have to prove somehow that you have those deductions. And believe it or not, I've handled a lot of audits, and you don't always need receipts. Okay, there's other ways to prove deductions. The IRS doesn't want people to know this, but normally if you get audited at the first level, they're going to deny any deductions that you can't easily prove. Then you got to go to the appeals process. But I've gotten, returns, expenses accepted where there was very little documentation. You want the documentation. You don't want to have to estimate stuff, but it is legal. Okay. Again, so another reason to amend your return now is popular. If you didn't get your stimulus check, if you didn't get your 2020 stimulus check, the IRS is telling you to amend your 2020 tax return. We have somebody like that. We're going to be doing that. So removing interest and penalties, you could do it through an amended return. Usually I do it through another means. I write a letter and I claim there's reasonable cause. But if you get a letter asking for interest and penalties, and the IRS is wrong because you forgot to take a deduction, you're gonna answer that notice with an amended return and a letter. Okay. Protective claims is, so sometimes there's something that hasn't been resolved in the law, like cryptocurrency. Okay, they're still making up the rules with cryptocurrency, and sometimes rules aren't set in stone until it goes to tax court. Okay, until somebody takes the IRS to tax court and there's some kind of decision. So if there's something that's like out there in the open and nobody really knows, and believe it or not, the IRS doesn't know everything. That's why they have tax court. If the IRS knew everything and they were the last stop, there would be no tax court. And believe it or not, the IRS loses a lot in tax court. We did a workshop on that with some bizarre cases where people got deductions allowed.
My favorite is still the gas station who was giving away a bottle of beer for every fill up. And that was considered a tax deduction that they could take.
I'll tell you what got them audited is their accountant. Because I'm thinking, gas station buys beer. They probably showed it on the return as alcohol, free alcohol. They did something on their return that it just doesn't make sense. But the IRS challenged it. The IRS challenged it. Somehow they figured out, or it might have been something that the taxpayer said during the audit. That's why we get powers of attorney. We don't let clients talk to the IRS. But yeah, they actually went to tax court, which is another thing. I'm like, how much could that deduction have been worth? But anyway, some people just like to go to court. And the court said that it was a deductible, what was it? It was a deductible gift, not a gift.
A marketing expense,
Promotional item.
promotion,
It was a-
yeah.
Yeah. We were thinking about giving away 6 packs for new clients that hired us to do tax returns, but
Brownies
got
are a lot
voted-
less controversial.
I got voted down. We went with brownies. Now clients get brownies instead of 6 packs. Audit triggers. There's always a chance that when you file an amended return, the IRS could pick it up for audit. So you got to be careful. You don't want to just, amend everybody's return based on estimated claims that the client is saying, oh yeah, my mother-in-law lived with us and we should have taken her as a dependent. Meanwhile, the mother-in-law was a millionaire and they didn't qualify. You keep doing those kind of returns as a tax preparer, eventually the IRS is going to be auditing you. If you have a business, a Schedule C, sole proprietorship, the IRS loves auditing sole proprietorships. So I won't amend a sole proprietorship if I feel like there's a chance that they're going to audit, or I'll let the client know, and I'll let them know, listen, there's a good chance you're going to get audited, but we have a solid position. If we have a solid position, if the client has receipts, we're going to amend the return. But and again, another audit trigger is if you're claiming a credit that you didn't claim on the original return. The IRS could always say, show us the proof. And right now, the way they're doing audits is not the way they used to do audits, which is pretty scary. Okay. I don't know, Franklin, I don't know if you handle a lot of audits, but if you didn't, you might want to start specializing in it, because the IRS is going to be hired. They want to hire 80,000 revenue agents, and I don't know where they're going to find 80,000 people that want to go to work for them. But the way that they're doing the audits now is they're asking people to just fax in their receipts, believe it or not. And that's pretty scary. So I'm thinking, like with Raymond, we claimed the solar panel credit. He has all the documentation. I'm like, yeah, I want to see them. I challenge them to, I know Ray doesn't want this, but if they ask for it, I'm like, here's the documentation, leave us alone, send us the check with interest. Because that's another thing. When you amend your return and it's accepted, they send you interest. Believe it or not. Unfortunately, you will have to pay taxes on the interest. That's right, folks. Just because if you get something from the IRS, they still want you to pay taxes on it. Okay, so that the scoop on amending tax returns. Oh, one other thing I want to show you, the way to amend business return. Okay, I'm going to show you the two form returns, and we would amend them. We're going to stop the share again. And this is for my students that want to learn this stuff. So this is an 1120S. If you're a student, you're gonna have, when you go to sleep, I'm not gonna say nightmares, but you'll be thinking about 1120S forms because you're gonna learn everything there is about this. Now, it's very simple to amend an 1120S return. All you gotta do is check off this box. You're telling the IRS this is an amended return. You enter the correct information here, and then you're going to have to attach an explanation. They want to know what line you're amending and why. Okay, the shorter is better. You don't want to give them a whole song and dance. Usually it's like I overlook, the taxpayer overlooked these deductions, we're admitting them now. This was the original amount, this is the corrected amount. Okay. I've seen 2 S corporations audited in my, no, 3 of them in 40 years. Every other audit was a Schedule C. All 3 of those audits, no, 2 of those audits were from amended returns. And they were red flags because they were big numbers, and one of them went from a profit to a $200,000 loss. The other 2 was a waste of time for the IRS. It was a net operating loss that the taxpayer never got to use because they never had a profit. So the IRS, they audited a return that even if they disallowed all the deductions, it still would have wound up with a no change. And I explained this to the auditor and he agreed. Another one was, I'll show you, you have to choose an accounting method, okay? So the accountant made a mistake and he claimed that they were cash, but he included inventory and accounts receivable and accounts payable on the balance sheet. Now, by definition, that's accrual basis. So I couldn't keep doing the return the wrong way. So if you have, entries on these lines, accounts receivable and your accrual basis, it's obvious. So I filed the return as accrual basis. The IRS picked it up and they wanted to know, because you're supposed to apply for a change in accounting method. And I said, you know what, I'm not applying, that's a lot of work. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to change it. The auditor came in, I showed it to him and he's like, oh my God. What he said was he was going to have to write up something special to explain this. I didn't think it was that big a deal, because again, and I showed this to the agent, I said, the guy never made money. He wound up going out of business. He was bankrupt. So a lot of times, when you're dealing with IRS agents, like we said, if you get a person and they're logical, they have a job to do. They don't want to spend time they don't want to waste time. So they audited two of our clients. And even if they disallowed everything, the IRS wasn't going to walk away with a check. It was a losing proposition. So they just went away. Now, this is an individual amended return. So now what you do, like I said in the beginning, if it's a change in filing status, you just put the correct status here. You're going to put the original information here. You're going to put the correct information here. And again, if you're using a software program, if we're amending one of our own clients' returns, and we do have to do that from time to time, there's just a button that we push on the software, and it populates the original, and then we put the corrected amounts, and it works out nice. If we get somebody, a new client that we have to amend their return, we actually have to put in all the information in the previous year's tax program, every bit of information from the date of birth. It's like we're redoing the whole return. And then we push the button to say it's an amended return. And it populates everything. So the software is good with that. And then on the back, you have to give them a detailed explanation. Okay, you want to get, again, the shorter the explanation, the more concise and to the point, the better. If you could put the whole explanation here, that's preferable. If you can't, then you're gonna have to attach a schedule. You're gonna say, see attached schedule. Okay, so you want to give them the right information so that they don't have to, you want them to process it, okay? These amended returns are looked at by individuals. They're not machine processed. Somebody's gonna look at them, they're gonna approve them or not approve them. I've never had an amended return that was bounced back. Okay. It's almost like, a prosecutor that never loses a case. Right, Elizabeth?
You know what's funny about prosecutors is if they think they're going to lose that case, they just let it go. They make it
that's
so
right. You taught that.
they make it so the time for what they're supposed to file or what they're supposed to do runs out, and then they don't take it to court, and the judge just drops the case because of time. That's prosecutors are not going to take the prosecutors
so
are
they
not going
don't
to take the
dismiss
case
the
to court. They're not dismissing the charges, or they're not saying, they're just saying, oh, the time for it, the statute of limitations to get this documentation is over, right? So that's how prosecutors do it. But the IRS, they don't want to lose cases either, because the more they lose a case, or that it's on the books that they've lost a case for a specific reason, well, then don't you know, just like the gas station that's given away the beer as a marketing expense, well, isn't that a good idea for other companies to do the same thing? And now we've got it on the books or on record that that's allowable. The IRS would rather have you question.
What about the junkyard that wrote off the cat food and the vet bills? Some of these cases, I'm like, why did the IRS even bother going to court? They should have just let them go, because now everybody's going to be writing off cat food and beer. So this is where I pitch everybody. It's not really a pitch. I'd just like you to know what we do. We're Bedrock Business Builders. And that's what we try to do, starting with, we provide a firm foundation for small businesses that don't normally hire accountants because they think that we're too expensive. This is our current team of superstars. I don't do everything. In fact, I don't do that much. I just show up. They basically run the show, and everybody's in good hands with them, believe. We start our new clients off at only $57 a month because we have a system. Okay, we have a bookkeeping and accounting system that all these beautiful women help implement.
Joe, it is all about monthly bookkeeping and reconciliations of accounts. So if you're a bookkeeper, or if you're an accountant, if you do a lot of taxes, and at the end of the year, you just get all of this massive paperwork from your clients, and you're shifting through it, and you're like, oh my goodness, how do I reconcile all of these accounts? How do I do it so I am not overwhelmed? I think that's why a lot of tax preparers are overwhelmed during tax season. Instead, what Bedrock is doing is we are taking everybody's monthly expenditures, or the statements from their accounts, and we're reconciling them each month. So then by the end of the year, don't you know, it's that P&L is just right there for you. It's ready to go. It makes it so we are an efficient and effective back office for small businesses, for individuals, for the tax preparers, for their clients. If you're a single tax preparer and that's how you run your business, well, don't you know, you can actually have a whole team to help you with your clients through Bedrock Business Builders and still charge a premium to your own clients to do their taxes. We're not necessarily trying to do your clients' taxes. Could we? Sure. But that's not our goal. I don't think Joe likes to review all those taxes, to be honest. He'd much rather that we in the background are doing the bookkeeping
To be honest, we do the taxes because our clients need it, but you know that
Mhm.
bookkeeping and accounting is our bread and butter.
That's true.
We wound up doing a lot of tax work because of what's going on with the IRS right now, but we do want to partner with accounting firms that, because there's not enough accountants out there. And when the IRS starts auditing all these small people, all these small businesses, I got a feeling that especially sole practitioners are going to be overwhelmed with work. So this is what we do for our clients. We try to give them some sort of stress relief because they don't know what they don't know, and that's what gets them in trouble. I talked a lot about people doing their own tax returns. That's who we target. We target those individuals, like I said, that don't normally hire accountants because they all think, oh, I'll hire one when I need them or when I start making money. And they do themselves a disservice. And at $57 a month, it's almost, I've told a couple of people that said, I don't think I could afford that. And I've had to tell them that, well, then they shouldn't be in business. You can't afford $57 a month for an account, and you really shouldn't be in business. And not only that, when we get a new client, we're offering them 3 months free. And the extra bonus, me. I'm offering a free consultation with me. All you got to do is go to Time with Joe, and I would love to talk to you about your business, about if you have any tax issues, if you want to get one of those refunds, or if you don't even know if you can get a refund, I can let you know. So now, Franklin, I promised you that I would give you a couple of ideas. You've already done, it sounds like, everything that you can. I think what you haven't done is, and you might laugh at this, is go to your congressman. Okay. My aunt, who worked at the IRS for over 20 years, we made a mistake on her tax return. We caught it like within a week. She didn't give me a pen plan that she took a distribution, a final distribution. She was getting a refund over $8,000. We had no choice. We had to file an amended return. She had to call her congressman, get him involved, because even when they got the IRS on the phone, now she was one of the people that took the phone call, so she knew how to get them on the phone. Another thing, I don't know if you ever try to call them, you got to call them on a Wednesday or Thursday, 5 minutes before they open. She said, because don't call on a Friday. Everybody's trying to call before the weekend. Don't call on a Monday or a Tuesday, because that's what everyone does. If you call, because it's a key system, you go into a key. So I've had times where I called at 11 o'clock, I'm on hold for 2 hours, and then they just say, we don't have enough people to answer your call. And so I'm not even calling them unless I get up early and I can, get in the key. The other thing that I'm doing right now is I'm just writing letters. And I'm like, they have to respond. They can't not respond. And what's happening is our clients are getting letters saying, we don't have time to respond to your notice, but you got to keep on it. Now, what happened with my aunt, she called her congressman, and they actually gave the congressman the runaround. It was unbelievable. And he couldn't, and he wasn't the only, she wasn't the only, he had a whole bunch of his flock that he was calling the IRS for. So they're not even, but that's what it's down to. Now you said, what about the taxpayer advocate? Did you try that route? You're muted.
Yeah, I filed a couple weeks back about the Form 911, the advocate. And we haven't heard anything. I thought I'd give them, a little more time. But we'll pursue that. But I like the idea too about the congressman. At least maybe we can get something stirred up, get some action, at least get some correspondence from them, because it's like it went dead for like a year and a half. And you're like, what's
you can't sit on it. You can't wait, because if you're not on, it's like the squeaky wheel gets the
grease.
oil.
Yeah.
And my aunt was on them. She was on the congressman, to the point where the congressman finally said, okay, I got the person who's going to review your tax return. And they're gonna let us know by next week on Monday. So Monday came and the guy didn't call him. You know what they told him? They're like, oh, he's out sick. And I was like, oh my God, if they're giving a congressman the run around, I mean, it's really insane.
Yeah, it is.
So I just read some. Do you get the emails from the IRS every day?
Yes.
I'm reading some scary things. I mean, really scary things that's going on.
Well, I got that. I started getting that correspondence a couple of years back, because it's like you want to kind of get a feel for what the heck's going on.
Yeah, so like back in during tax season, I think they started with this new identity verification system. And my aunt, because that was one of the things we were like, you got to get on to your account and see what's going on with this. So she tried, and they said they couldn't verify her identity. And then we found out that they trashed the whole system because it didn't work.
Oh, wow.
Now Elizabeth's telling me, what did you say, that they're trying a chat thing? And
so they're going to start implementing chat bots and voice AI bots to answer questions and to do different things. Now, New York State does a lot of that all on its own. But what I put in the chat also for you, Franklin, is the Attorney General for the Tax Division. And they have a specific contact in a phone number for them. So your congressman is a good place to go, and also just the Attorney General, because if you're filing that 911 form already, what you're saying is that this individual is in distress because of what's happening with this tax problem, and they do have a specific amount of time that they have to make a response. So that's where the Department of Justice can get involved, because they're hurting somebody.
Yeah.
Right. And they're not really allowed to do that. Just like as the prosecutor, they can't prosecute that case. They're supposed to let it go within a reasonable time. It's like 90 days if they can't get all the evidence all together. The same thing with the IRS. They don't have the authority to hold something over somebody's head forever. They just can't do it.
you know what kills me? And then the politicians, IRS, the politicians are the ones that are the problem. I'm like, it's, what do they call it? It's like the pot calling the kettle black, something like that. It's just like, yeah. I don't know what the solution is for us, Franklin. You just, it's brute force. It's, you can't
Persistence.
let them go. You can't
Okay.
let,
No,
and
so
maybe
learning
if
the
you have
best
your
way to
client
advocate.
call the congressman. Yeah. You
Okay.
can't let it go. It's really put a strain on us. You know, we're a small firm, and my clients get a notice of intent to levy. And I'll give you a better one. I got a client, I told him that he qualifies for an offer in confidence. He owes the IRS like $500,000. But they never sent him a letter. I was like, what? So I get a power of attorney. Finally, he gets a letter. He owes them for 1 year, $115,000. Call the number on the notice to arrest. You can't even get through. I'm like, they're sending us a collection notice. We want to settle, but you can't get through. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they got to do something. They really got to do something.
Okay, I got you. I'll talk to the client, see what he wants to do. I'm knowing me, I'm gonna take it to the end, So,
Yeah,
then-
keep us posted. I'd like to know.
So
Okay.
after you contact the Attorney General, then, because you'll have letters, right? You'll have
Right.
letters to the congressman, you'll have letters to the Attorney General. They'll respond back to you. It'll take a little bit. And depending on the response or what they do or how long they're going to continue to take, then you can take it to CNBC. You can take it to bigger news outlets. I've done that with medical bill cases, is that you go so far, right? And you're still stuck. You start getting more of like the national newspapers involved, somebody wakes up.
yeah.
Oh, they want those stories too, but how big a case is this, Franklin?
How big a case of this is?
I mean, are you talking about a lot of money?
Yeah, we're talking about $50,000-$60,000 refund.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is they're gonna get interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad news is they'll have to pay taxes on it. But yeah, Elizabeth's right. The news places, they love stories like this, but it takes time and effort.
It takes
to get
time, and
on.
it also just takes time to substantiate the case, because when those places are trying to write those articles, they need to know that you've done the back work, so they're not just immediately starting to post it in the newspaper.
Yeah, but if you get
But it
on
is-
it, that'll help your business.
That's true.
It'll
Yeah.
definitely help your business.
Okay.
You become like an expert in that
I'll be
advocacy.
in touch. This is one of those ones you just can't let go, because what is right, you know?
Oh yeah, I agree. I'd start taking it personally.
Yeah.
It's like this guy with the offer and compromise. He's like really slow. I'm like, let me get them. Let me go after them. Because what they did to him? They went to his business and the IRS agent demanded that he give them a check for $200,000.
Whoa.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They scared him. I was like, that's not legal. But he didn't know. He went into a deep depression. Yeah, and the guy, he got swindled. He had a nice business. These guys came in and took it over. And I don't know what they did, but they didn't do anything good. And he wound up owing the IRS $500,000.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, keep us posted.
Okay. No, I'm glad I attended this seminar. This is good.
Where'd you get us from? LinkedIn?
Yeah, I know, Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, you're in a couple other things. Maybe it's just Facebook. I don't know. I've kept up with you past year or so.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Comments and stuff, and so yeah. This is good. I'm glad you did this.
So am I. This
Me too.
was one of my favorite. This one and hey, Sean.
Hey, unfortunately, my mastermind meeting was exactly at the same time as this. I really wanted to be on this. So is there any chance of
You
recording?
can get the replay if you want.
Okay, good. Yes, please.
Well, you could just talk to me. You're already a client, so you can always talk to me about this. Hopefully you don't need an amended return.
Yeah, well, I would love an amended return that gets me money back, because man, I just wrote them way too much. Oh man, that was the biggest check I've ever written in my life.
That must have been painful.
It was painful. Yeah, I got PTSD from that check.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't know what
no.
else I could have done.
The good news is you're a young guy. You're going to pick yourself up and start another successful business, right?
I think so. Yeah. I'm trying to figure that out. I got to shed my identity. Sold my business, shed my identity. So I got to figure out what I want to be when I grow up now.
How does that feel?
It's I went through it in 2005 and it's awkward. It's better this time because I'm more mature and wiser, but it's still weird. It's like waiting around for inspiration. I'm not the kind of person who's just going to jump into something because I did that before and it didn't work out well. So yeah, it's kind of like practicing patience, which isn't really easy for me. So especially with this
You're an
kind of stuff, because
entrepreneur.
I'm a hard worker. I have that Protestant work ethic thing, right? So I'm just.
What about the stuff in Kenya that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. We're definitely, that's a lot of hurry up and wait stuff though, because, you know, I have to meet with attorneys and, you know, I'm going to build this house in Kenya for the kids, and that's going to take some time. So, you know, that's not a full-time endeavor at this point.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so we'll see. I'm just waiting for inspiration right now. And look, I'm not sitting around, but I'm actively seeking it. But you don't rush that. Right? It comes when it comes.
Yeah, it'll come to you.
Yeah, thanks. Hope so. In the meantime, I'm trying to enjoy my life, right? Because that's what we got to do. I was talking to a mastermind call about.
What do you have? You have 4 kids, right?
Five kids. Yeah,
Oh,
five kids. And
oh my God.
yeah, it's funny because I have a friend who was on my mastermind call. It's like 4 of us, and he is, I mean, beyond blessed. He lives in an amazing house, like a farm, and he's got successful businesses, and he makes software, and he's killing it in every way. Beautiful children, the whole thing. But he's just so driven that he's just never happy. And so he was just saying how he's going to go to a counselor to figure that out, because it's just like he's never really feeling grateful. In my opinion, he's just never grateful. He never takes stock. So I can't say I'm not doing that, because we just got back from a month in Europe. We just went literally away for 32 days in Italy and France. So I'm trying to smell some roses here, you know, for sure. But
you know, I could see, you know, I'm looking at Elon Musk, and the guy doesn't look happy. It's like he's always fighting with people now. Same thing with who's the guy? Facebook.
Is it Zuckerberg you're talking about? Or Facebook?
Yeah, Zuckerberg. It's like he's always in front of Congress, and like these guys. Yeah, you be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, I think it's
I wouldn't mind being in Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, there's something where I've seen this and I've seen this in martial arts, because I've studied and practiced and taught martial arts for 20 something years. And we see people that can't leave the gym. They can't leave it in their mind. Like they're in that, you know, you're supposed to turn it on and off. Like you go in and you learn to fight, you learn to be in that moment, and, you know, all that stress, and you learn to control it, but then you have to leave and then be peaceful. Right? Like, and I've seen only a few people who couldn't turn it off. And when you can't turn it off, you're kind of like, you're looking at everything like, I'm going to get in a fight or something. And that's like the opposite of everything. And so you're just kind of trapped there. And I think people do that with business and the grind, where you're grinding, even when there's nothing to grind on, you're just grinding yourself away, you know, your own soul.
You got to have a balance. That's
hard. It's hard. So all that, what makes you successful ends up destroying.
That's circular. So Lulu has her hand raised, I believe. So Lulu, if you have a question, we can answer a question. Joe, I do have a party board, because I don't think that we're here to grind things down. I think we are here to have a little fun. It will review the things that we went over during the serious part of our discussion. And I don't have the right answers. You all will have the right answers. So Lulu, do you have a question? You're just raising your hand. I'll ask you to unmute. And then I do the 3-second rule. 1, 2, 3. No? All right. I'm gonna lower your hand then.
Maybe she's like me. She's just pushing buttons and she raised her hand.
It happens. I do that. All right. I do that. We can press buttons. So this is something that we do during our mastermind on Friday. We will oftentimes play Jeopardy. Jeopardy has different things that we are covering. Now, today's topic, because we're very serious about amending returns, I have less news things in there and such, but we're going to focus on amend, money, no way, not funny, true or false. Now, hopefully, a lot of the things that are on the board we talked about earlier, so you have some sort of recollection of what the answers could be. Because remember, I don't have the right answers, you have the right answers. If you answer a question correctly, you can have the room and you can ask your own burning business question or your own question, and we can all talk about it in Mind Hive fashion, all right? So, Raymond, you are here first. Where are we going on the board?
No way 400.
All right. When debt is forgiven, why does the IRS like it?
Because you have to pay money, it's classified as income. Unless, like myself, thanks to the wonderful know-it-all Joe DeShara, I have qualified for one of their exceptions, like I don't have any assets.
Ooh, that's cool. All right, but you are correct. That is why the IRS likes when debt is forgiven. And in fact, when school debt is forgiven, there's going to be a lot of people who wind up having school debt forgiven. It will be considered income, and they may not have had to pay their school debt back, right? But they will have to pay taxes on the debt that is forgiven, all right? They are not getting away with just walking away scot-free. In fact, because they'll have to pay taxes on it as opposed to it just sitting as these school loans that get held on forever, they will have less wiggle room on how to not pay anything. They'll have to perhaps make an offer and compromise and pay little by little over time. Any burning business questions?
They should call these the Accountants Full Employment Act. They're gonna keep us busy for years.
This is true. They're trying to keep accountants busy.
So I have a question related to what we just talked about. So the 1099 that Citibank sent me, does that still have to, I mean, the IRS obviously gets a copy. So how do we, what's the mechanics of processing that so that we don't pay tax on the income?
There's a form include with your return that says you qualify for one of the exceptions.
Aha. Thank you. Glad I asked. You have that form, I trust.
I'm
Believe
sure
it or
we'll
not,
have we have the
you're
form. I know, Joe, it's
'Cause
you.
Right now, we're still processing my 2021 return, so.
We lost Joe, but yes, we'll wind up having the form, and if we need to gain a form from you, it'll be in your Secure File Pro, and
Mhm.
you'll sign it. You'll hear from Luz that you've got something in there and that you need to sign it. Joe, I think
did you get that recently, right?
Define recently.
Didn't we file your return already? We'll have to talk later.
No, we're still reviewing it.
Oh, okay.
Luz
right.
and
Okay,
you
I'm
are
pretty sure
talking about it, going over it, resolving it.
Okay.
so Raymond is known as the tortoise trader and the tortoise tax filer. All right,
Everything.
so it's going
The tortoise,
in-
everything, yeah.
hand
Just
in hand.
plain old the tortoise.
Franklin, where do you want to go on the board?
How about amended for 100?
How far back can you amend a return?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. But then isn't there like this weird, it's like 3 years. Joe, you said it at the beginning, and I don't want to say it wrong. It's like,
It's 3 years from the due date. But if you extend the return, the due date gets extended.
okay. The easy answer, I think, is 3 years. Any burning business questions? Rowena, where you want to go on the board? Let's be quick.
Amend 200.
Amend 200. All right. Can an amended return be filed digitally?
Yes.
Here we go, Joe. Where are we going on the board?
100.
Something for 100. I think Joe wants money for 100. If you amend a return and the IRS owes you money, will you get it?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope you get it. And as you said, not only will you get it, but you should then also get interest on it, which is cool.
Yes.
Mhm.
Not 20 for 100.
Thank you. Somebody don't make me play this game by myself, everybody, okay? What's the
Thank you,
best?
Franklin. Stay in touch.
Well,
What's the best thing about Switzerland? Raymond, come on, what's the best thing about Switzerland?
The cheese.
All right, cheese is good because I don't know, but the watches, chocolate is a good thing. So all those things, but I know that the flag is a big plus. Right, that's the silly part of the joke because this is their flag, big plus. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
How about the army
that's
knife?
The army knife. I like the Swiss army knife. All right, but true or false? 300. You have to register and pay sales tax in the states that you make sales online. That's true.
Yes,
That's true.
true.
You do.
Sad, but true.
It is sad. I'm
And
proud
now
of
you might have to pay sales taxes in states that you're not living in.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a special workshop, on sales tax.
We are. That was the plug for that. What is a tax credit and can you amend a return to get it? Raymond, you know this answer.
It's a line on the tax form, and if you didn't claim it, then yes, you have to file an amendment.
Yeah. Tax credits give you money from the IRS. If you have a tax credit and you didn't file it, you want to file it. That just like Raymond's solar panel credit. The IRS shredded.
Well, being a tortoise, I hadn't actually filed a return for that year, so it wasn't an amendment. It was just, I actually filed.
See, qualifiers.
Because I'm the tortoise, right?
That's true. The IRS shredded 30 million paper returns because of backlog. What should filers do instead?
How about send it in on a clay tablet?
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe that'll get attention.
A stone tablet.
Move to Switzerland. I don't know about that, Joe, because here we go. Here's a true and false for you. When you are a US citizen and live out of the country, you don't have to pay US taxes. Is that true or false?
False.
You're out of the,
False.
that's false. So maybe even if we went to Switzerland to try and avoid taxes, perhaps we can avoid the taxes. You may still have to pay. Name
Not
three.
funny for 200.
All right, I'll go to 200. But first, name 3 reasons why you would amend a return. We got one. Rowena, what's the reason why we would amend a return?
Status. Filing status.
The filing status, we
What
could have made a
is-
mistake.
What is amnesia?
Amnesia. Maybe we got 1099s. People sent them to us and we didn't know. Right? Maybe maybe we didn't claim a dependent and we should have claimed a dependent. What other reasons? Maybe our business.
What is fear?
Fear. True. Why did the teacher wear sunglasses in class? No idea. I gotta say you all are part of this. That's due
Fear
because
is not listening.
her students were so bright. Yeah. See how I got Rowena to laugh. I knew it happened.
Oh, so I should wear sunglasses in our next class.
Totally, Joe. I want to see you with sunglasses. You can make this
Okay.
joke. Rowena will laugh twice. I'm killing it with my comedy. The IRS
Money for
paused-
200.
Money for 200. All right. How can you check on the status of a tax return?
Call your congressman.
No, if they're not responding. So on the IRS
Okay.
site, there is a way to enter your information and to check on the status. That's the easiest way, right? But if they don't have it listed, if it's not there and you filed your tax return, you can then call the IRS. If the IRS, when you're calling them, doesn't give you a response, just like we talked with Franklin earlier, you can do that 911 form. And then if they don't respond to the 911 form, you can try calling them again, but then going to the congressman, going to the attorney general. There is always a way to go higher up. In fact, I bet there's people who write the president every day about their taxes. Now, mind you, if it's serious or not, I'm not sure. But if you've got a paper trail, if you've been diligently working, you will eventually get a response. Even if it is, we're going to levy your account. And if that happens, call Joe. How do poets say hello? Hey,
Odiously.
odiously. Ooh, that's nice. Hey, haven't we metaphor?
Oh, God.
Metaphor.
Cracking myself up today. That's why we're going to leave it off with, what was your biggest takeaway from this? It wasn't the mastermind, from this workshop. All right, this board was made by Canva. You can
It
edit
was
it.
dependence. Dependence as a claim for a deduction.
I'm not the only one with clients with tax issues.
That's true, Joe. You're not the only one with clients with tax issues. Amending returns for dependents is important. Rowena, what was your biggest takeaway?
You can amend.
That
You didn't
just that
do
you
it.
can amend, you can make mistakes. All right, lots of people, we make mistakes. The IRS is definitely making mistakes. We can make mistakes too, and we can fix it. Now, it has been lovely sharing time together. I always enjoy it, especially during our monthly workshops, our weekly masterminds, and our latest is the Bedrock Business Builders Certification Accounting and Bookkeeping course, right? That's every Friday night. Rowena, we've been spending lots of time together. Woo, woo. Thank you for getting all of your assignments together and to making it so you're on task and you participate in a high way. It's awesome. I
Yes.
hope that everybody continues to connect. You will get the replay for this workshop, all right? Other people will also get the replay for the workshop. So it's been beneficial for you to say who you are, what you do. It's always an opportunity to connect with other people. And that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Joe, is anything else? Final word.
Thank you. Thank you to Raymond. Thank you to our students. I'm going to be wearing sunglasses to the next class. And yeah, we have tomorrow's review if you're around.
That's true. For the certification course participants, Joe does have the review on Wednesday morning, Wednesday evening for you, and you will go over the quizzes that were given. Okay, and he's got slides and he's got more explanations. It should be fun and interesting and highly educational because that's what Bedrock is all about. We're here to teach our clients.
And what is the teaser for next month's class? Like today,
Ooh.
repeat of today.
Did we?
What can we look forward
Oh,
to?
how to get financing, right?
It is about how to
Oh,
get
yeah.
financing.
Tell us.
Yeah.
We're going to show you the money.
During the
Cool.
summer, that's a big thing for us. How to get financing, how to get employees, yeah, definitely.
You might need some cash to market your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the benefit of mending
Thank
your
you.
returns. Dun, 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 dun. See you next time, everybody. It's been a
All right,
pleasure.
thank you, everyone. See you
Bye.
soon.